Hi there, I'm Marilyn Horrick, WICC Ontario co-chair, coming at you with the guys from the Digital Insurance Pint podcast. And I want to thank Gore Mutual, Crew.io, and Garrison Breweries. Thanks very much for all your support. And thank you guys for bringing Women in Insurance Cancer Crusade onto today's show.
Hi there, and welcome to the Digital Insurance Pint podcast. I'm your host, Tom Reed. And as always, I'm joined by Adam Mitchell, CEO of Mitchell & Whale, Steve Earle, CEO of Cheap Insurance, Jeff Roy, CEO of Caliber Insurance, and today our special guest is Marilyn Horrick, who is, amongst other things, the co-chair of WICC Ontario. Hi, Marilyn. How you doing?
Really great. Thanks so much for having us.
Awesome. So, Marilyn, why don't you tell us how you became part of WICC?
Like most people, cancer has affected my family, and with 1 in 2 Canadians affected by cancer, that's not a difficult thing. But going back into the early days of my career, which was probably towards the mid to late 90s, I worked at Zurich Insurance, and a colleague of mine, I really respected and admired her, and she was a cancer survivor. And at the time, when she came back to work, not a lot of people talked about cancer. They didn't talk about what had happened. And I engaged in conversation, and she told me about her experience and that she wanted to be different. And it was not something, having breast cancer wasn't something that needed to be taboo. And she told me about this organization that she was getting involved in and how she was going to use that as a platform for making sure that it was no longer going to be a taboo subject, whether you had prostate cancer or breast cancer or any other kind of cancer, that it was not something that people had to, go off on leave and no one talked about it. And I was really inspired by that story. And of course, my own family has had an impact as well. So I asked to be involved, and ultimately ended up being co-chair alongside Ellen Moore from Chubb. And now that Ellen stepped away, I'm co-chair with Garth Pepper from Liberty Mutual. How I got into WICC, is important to me, but why I've stayed involved is, and it really comes back to the WICC mission. It's our ability to unite the members of our insurance community behind cancer research, and giving people a sense of purpose, and giving the community members an opportunity to feel like they're making a difference.
When we tell people that the podcast is partnering with WICC, there's instant awareness, instant sort of respect for that, because the WICC name is so well established in the insurance business. Everybody knows what WICC is. So that's a testament to the work that you and the volunteers have done over the years. So
it's incredible. Like, you guys have raised $18 million since 1996, and is that correct, or somewhere in that area?
17.5 million. We had, so this is our 25th year. It's a banner year. It's amazing that we have the kind of support that we do. There are fundraising initiatives that come up and then kind of disappear, but the sustainability and the support that the insurance community has demonstrated, and the industry continues to rally to support us and to support the mission. For that, we're extremely, extremely grateful.
Marilyn, let's get to know you a little bit more. So we with all of our guests, we do a little speed round, right? So emphasis on speed. So I need you to give me the first answer that comes in your head.
Go for it.
So, Marilyn, what is your favorite Canadian band of all time?
So Anne Murray, if she was a band, because that
Anne Murray's okay.
That honestly, but Rush, if you're really looking for a band, I'd have to say Rush, because there is no one cooler than Neil Peart, and Geddy Lee probably has the best singing voice, most memorable singing voice. There you go.
Hey, good Ottawa girl, Anne Murray. Hey.
She lived there, but she's from Nova Scotia, just like this delicious Garrison beer.
Oh, what a segue!
So it's a good segue. Which beer did you open there?
That was the Irish Red.
Irish Red, awesome.
Actually, it
What was
doesn't last long in our house. So six-pack arrived and it kind of, disappeared.
vanished?
Daughter over 19, yeah.
Awesome. What was your high school nickname?
I guess you could do a lot with Horrick, but they stuck with man.
Okay, so fill in the blank. If I was elected Prime Minister of Canada, blank would be legal.
Tax evasion.
Tax evasion. Then it wouldn't be evasion, would it? It'd just be good, solid accounting.
Whatever makes you sleep at night.
Yeah. Is it wrong for a vegan to eat animal crackers?
No, eat the crackers.
Okay. And name one of the 7 dwarfs.
Grumpy.
Grumpy. That's a first. I don't think anybody else has named Grumpy. We've had a lot of Dopies, a few Sleepies, but I don't think Grumpy's. I think that's a first for Grumpy.
I think he's a complicated person, a complicated dwarf. I have a lot of time for grumpy people. They generally have a really interesting perspective and a good way to solve things. They just are misunderstood.
Have you met Steve?
Yeah, Steve Earle.
I really like this girl.
I don't think me or Jeff have got any suck-up answers yet, so let's keep going for a bit. He's just played to the other two.
Let's get back into a little bit more about WICC. So let's tell us your favorite WICC story.
There are moments at Relay for Life, which is actually our largest fundraising event that are extremely poignant. There is a survivor lap, and it's quiet and it's meaningful, and it's an important part of that event. It's a day though that is spent in celebrating the lives of people who are fighting cancer. Those who we remember and do so lovingly. And we pay tribute to them through luminaries, which are lit along a track. Of course, this year, as we did last year, it'll be a virtual event. But those moments at Relay really stand out. Gala dancing on the dance floor to the ABBA tribute band, that's a memorable one. The time when we announced to the board that we had an increase in our national sponsor numbers. We announced that there were 15 national sponsors, and within a few months we were at 17. I mean, that was a memorable day. Most recently, we had our WICC breakfast in Ontario. And it was the first real virtual event that we had hosted, thanks to the Canadian underwriter that supported us with that. We had a doctor from the U of T that is a recipient of some of our fundraising dollars, and he spoke. And so having this doctor from U of T come and speak with us was really powerful, especially considering that we had almost as many people come and join us online, 7:30 in the morning on a breakfast when we're all, feeling pretty virtualed out, but they came out in droves, just like the industry does for WICC. And while we didn't charge anything for the tickets to attend, so we generated more out of that event than we had in any previous breakfast.
That's incredible. Just out of curiosity, who are the biggest supporters of WICC right now?
Our national sponsors are amazing, and I encourage everyone to go onto WICC.ca to learn more about those 17 organizations that make a 3-year commitment to WICC of $15,000 a year. They're not just contributing financially and ensuring that we can support the kind of additional fundraising that we do, and ensuring that we have a donation base every year to give to the Canadian Cancer Society. But they're also leaders in the industry. They're our cheerleaders. They're the ones that help to ensure that we fill a room at Gala. If we have an event at the Royal York, if we have an event at Angus Glen, if we have Relay for Life, whether it's online or in person, that these events are attended and in a really big way. So they bring brokers to the event, they bring other carriers to the event, reinsurers, and our national sponsors are huge supporters. And I'd have to say that while we look at the spectrum of all the supporters and donors, our volunteers are probably our biggest supporters. This is an entirely volunteer-based organization. We have 12, 13 people on the Ontario board at the moment, and everyone rolls up their sleeves. Everyone has a portfolio or two, and three in one instance, and that person has all of my appreciation for the work that they do. Our volunteers are huge supporters. They work tirelessly to make it all look easy.
So what's on the 2021 WICC agenda? Where are you guys going for this year?
So yeah, we're celebrating 25 years now, and it's not just Ontario. We have 4 chapters. So what's going on at WICC is kind of different in every province. Ontario is the largest. We're the longest standing, founded in 1996. We surpassed the $10 million milestone in donations made to Canadian Cancer Society. Our board and the volunteers and companies that supported us, that was a huge milestone event, and that just happened. So that announcement happened at the tail end of the beginning of last year. Alberta is a long-standing, dynamic, feisty group of supporters, and they have they established our first ever grant for cancer research, and that's important for their constituents. In British Columbia, they've traditionally given to Camp Good Times and lodges. Camp Good Times is a camp for kids with cancer. Lodges allow family members who need to, British Columbia is a big province, and people have to drive a long way to take a loved one, whether it's a child or a family member, to their cancer treatments. And so the BC chapter decided to direct their funds to support those family members so that they could stay overnight at their lodges. They've also directed for 2021 to give to the Cancer Prevention and Support Center in Vancouver, and there's a lovely little garden that they're opening up in the spring. And in Quebec, I'm extremely proud of that team. They're 10 years strong. They reached a $1 million milestone last year in donations to the Canadian Cancer Society. So there are initiatives happening all across the country. And in Ontario in particular, we have a fantastic group of young insurance professionals who have created a program of online virtual events. There's one coming up likely in March. It's another trivia night. The first one that they held was in September. It was more people than they expected turning out, and it was a great event. We have our relay coming up in July, on July 12th, and again, that'll be virtual. Our gala is likely going to be postponed, unfortunately, because of COVID. We'll likely have another education breakfast, and do so because of the fantastic feedback that we received. And of course, making the most of our online existence, and the fact that people are maybe feeling a little bit weary, having to work from home. We're selling gift boxes online through our WICC.ca website. So it's like bringing home equals happy, a little bit of lift, a little bit of joy, and in the meantime, making donations at the same time through the purchase and giving of those boxes. They were successful over the holidays, so we'll push through with a Valentine's box. We'll have one that's directed to people that are working from home, bring a little sunshine to their lives.
Well, most of our viewers are brokers. Yeah. What can brokers do to become more engaged with WICC, and not just by writing checks? And the second part is, I'm in Atlantic Canada. Tell me more about the presence there and maybe how to get things going more here.
Canadian Cancer Society reports that they've had a drop of $80 million in their fundraising activity as a result of the pandemic. So the kind of support that we can see from the existing supporters and the brokerage community is maybe more important now than ever. I see brokers getting involved by participating in events. And coming on board as national sponsors, we do have a national sponsor, a broker that's a national sponsor. We're thrilled to have them join us, supporting us by letting employees know what events are coming up for WICC, putting us onto intranets and having that be part of their communication and outbound communication to their employees, but building out the awareness and visibility and removing that stigma and giving people a place where they can learn more about cancer is, I think, a huge part of our mission, and where I think brokers will get a lot of value. This idea of providing something to employees that they can get behind, that they can unite, and that it actually affects them, because everybody's been affected by cancer. It's a huge boost for engagement. In terms of Atlantic Canada, the Insurance Brokers Association of New Brunswick, and in Nova Scotia, there have been a few events over the course of my history with WICC where we were the happy recipients of donations that were generated because of fun events that were held, pub nights, sort of dance events. There was a motorcycle event that was held that went all across Atlantic Canada. So those kinds of community related events and grassroots events have actually driven a sizable contribution. The number is around 100,000, a little bit over $100,000 that's actually come from Atlantic Canada. And so, you're giving me an opportunity here, Steve, to say sort of a shameless plug that we continue to look for individuals who want to play a volunteer role in supporting WICC, no matter where you come from. Of course, volunteer opportunities exist for all chapters across Canada, and we have actually several openings right now for communications, talent, and for fundraising, donations, for online social media support. So, the door's always open. Operators are standing by.
Awesome. Hey, Steve, I think we could have Angry Steve Against Cancer pub night at Garrison once the things open up after COVID, right?
Yeah, we're going to spotlight all the idiots that aren't supporting. So I want a list from you, Marilyn.
So Marilyn, I'm going to get you to kind of wrap up here. I'm going to pass the microphone over to you. You've got the opportunity to wrap the show here, so please go ahead.
Well, thanks very much, all of you, for this opportunity. The work that we're doing at WICC is incredible, and I'm extremely proud. I would say that the relationship that we have with the Canadian Cancer Society is one that isn't completely well known. 25 years ago, we struck an agreement with the Canadian Cancer Society that every dollar that WICC donates, that is donated from the industry through WICC, bypasses the administrative fees. So if someone is looking to make a donation, and they choose the Canadian Cancer Society, that giving through WICC is the most powerful way of making sure that their dollars go directly to cancer research and programs. More support's always needed, and I want to thank you guys so much for being part of the answer and being on this ride with us.